Good evening, Patrick here. It's 8 Questions with. It's Thursday night, and we're having a good week so far, and we're going to keep it rocking and rolling. Tonight we are talking with Kaehla Mauer tonight, and tomorrow we'll be talking with actress and journalist Chase Cortez de Vargas. Let's see, did I say that right? I think this is the only name I'm getting right, which is why I'm probably repeating it a lot. Uh, Chase Cortez de Vargas. Yes, tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. So that's gonna be a lot of fun as well. Um, wow, that was cool yesterday. Uh, we got to talk with Kit Wilson. I really enjoyed talking with him quite a bit. I thought he was amazing this week. We also got to talk to uh, uh, Christopher Pelton for the podcast, The Horror Connection. Yes, I do realize that we did not talk about a lot of horror the first time out. So I definitely gonna have to have him come back and hang out with us so we can talk more horror movies. That was that was the whole point. But we ended up to get into the movies itself. It was a really interesting conversation about podcasting and the how publicity and how to make it work for you. Hey, Drew, how are you? What's going on, my man? The View with Drew is here. All right. Um, so, Kayla is a very multi hyphenated artist. She can do a lot of things very, very well. She can dance, she can sing, she can she can go on stage. I mean, she's also a writer. She's done some screenwriting. She's producing. Um, She's even edited. She's done some editing, which is not an easy thing to do. So you can see that she is in her career. Well, it's very young, but she is not afraid to tackle new and exciting things in her career, and that really is starting to become a real. That's really starting to become a real asset for actors is to become multi hyphenated. Multi hyphenated means how many jobs you carry. A lot of times you'll hear me talk about actor, writer, or actor, singer, actor. But now today in today's world, hey Mike, how are you? All right, all right. Mike was online earlier talking about changes on his channel. Um, I of course requested more Mike and Ryan. I like watching those two go talk. I think they're a great team. That's what I'm hoping to see more of. Hey Anthony, how are you? How are you? Um, but as far as the multi hyphenated goes, you start to see more and more entertainers or performers having to learn or pick up another craft, whether it be language, whether it be combat fighting, whether it be lighting, whether it be, whether it be scout locations, whether it be whatever you need to be. It's no longer for you to just sit there and say, "Well, I'm an actor." Well, yes, but what else can you do? What else can you bring to the party? If that's all you can bring, it's like I'm just an actor. It's respected, but you might not get the job that you think you should because maybe the guy next to you, not only is an actor too, but he also knows how to. Maybe he's also a stunt coordinator. Maybe he works in stunts, and that makes him a little bit more versatile. And I just was looking at Kayla's background, and I was thinking how smart it is that she has learned how to do other things other than just act off front of the camera or in front of an audience. Um, I think so too. I think that is the wave of the future, Mike. More than ever, do I feel it's the wave of the future. You have to. I mean, now you're starting to see this as independent productions. Not only are you starting to see the cast being cast for that role, but now you're being asked almost like an unofficial producer, so to speak, because now you see them going out there and they're working they're working the crowdsourcing. They're out there. They are trying their best to get people to donate money to the project. They do their best to get it out there in the public's eye. They're not afraid to go out there and tell you. Before, you would read the website, and it would tell you what you could get with a small donation. Now the actors themselves or the directors themselves they're the ones telling you, hey, if you donate $100, we'll donate a signed picture of the project. I'll do a half-hour phone call with you. If you have any questions at all about directing, and they're doing it themselves. It's not just on a website anymore. They are taking an active hand in promoting the project that they're working on. Why? Because if they don't do it, who will? It's just too much out there to rely on just word of mouth to get a project up and running. You have to really work it. The cast has to be involved with it. Uh, the various producers, either be the executive or the regular producers, they have to be a lot more involved in it now. So yeah, I think the more in learning a different language is a powerful tool in an actor's toolbox. If you can do accents, if you do accents, there's all sorts of things that maybe you don't have that particular skill right now, because it's not everybody can speak with an accent, right? Sometimes you have to learn how to do that. You have to practice on it. But the fact of the matter is, though, that you take the time to do so and learn a different aspect of the job. It's a lot more than just showing up on time and being in front of the camera. It takes a lot to, especially on the independent level, it takes a lot of hard work from everybody to make it work. Let's see. So that's what's going on this week. So we got Chase, and we have Kaehla will be here next week. Next week we will be rocking and rolling in December. We will be back here this week. We have four shows this week. Next week we'll have another four. I'm trying to make the month a little top heavy, because I'm not going to be around for the holiday season. Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and the day after Christmas. Yeah, nobody else is going to be around either. So we're taking those 3 days off. Same thing with New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and the day after New Year's. Probably not the best time to do a live show. At least for the show that I'm doing. I'm sure we'll have a lot of people talking about the best of. We might come back and do the best of 2024, the movies that we watched. I haven't figured that out yet, but I do know that our guest is here. So please put your hands together and help me welcome in the very talented, the very multi-hyphenated talented Kaehla Mauer. And here we go.
Yay! Hello.
Hey, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Happy
Hi.
Thanksgiving. Hi. Can you hear me
Yeah,
all right?
no, we can.
Oh, good.
Actually, this is our Halloween show, because we were supposed to talk on Halloween.
Oh, right. Yes. Oh my
Right,
gosh.
yeah. So today is, I know people are going to walk in and go like, "Why is he talking Halloween?" Because we were scheduled for that, and then you got called away for shooting, and that happens. But I said, you know what? We're going to hold that. We're gonna talk a little bit of Halloween, a little bit, have some fun with that, and talk about the movie that you were called away from to shoot for. Hey, brother Max, how are you? I was talking briefly before you got here about how, like, I was looking at your IMDb page and your homepage, and I noticed that you noticed that you can do so much. Actor, singer, stage, live theater, film work, anything that needs to be done can be done and will be done.
It
And
has to be done.
it has to be done. Doesn't it seem that it's like that more and more, where maybe you get picked up for the acting role, right? You can audition for the acting role, but for some of these productions, you're finding yourself like after while they set up a shot, when we got 20 pages today, while you're setting up another shot, it's no longer just sitting in the chair. it's you actually getting up and saying, "What can I do to help you? How can I make this
Oh yeah.
process go a little bit faster?"
It's a
Um,
it's a collaborative effort for sure.
yeah, I think it's good. I think that in the last year or so, I think it has become not the exception, but I think it's becoming the rule. Like if you come onto a project, especially now with budgets being, because let's face it, budgets are going to they're only going to get smaller.
Hmm.
They're only going to get smaller because the return of the movie is going to be harder to get as well. Um, yes, movies will get sold to streamers, but they're not going to make very much money doing that. It's just, I think the profit margin for independent film is really going to shrink, and I think what that does, it forces all the filmmakers to like maximize their dollars, and that means including asking their cast to help out. Like, can you help me set up a craft table? Can you find me some parking spots for 3 vans or something like that?
Hmm.
I think it's gonna be way of the way of the future. How do
Hmm.
you feel about that? Do you feel like I'm overstating it, or have you seen it yourself on set that other actors are doing more than just acting?
Hmm. So for me, where I'm at, I actually have dove into like producing basically because I need my own sort of work. So I definitely see what you're saying, and especially when you're starting out, it's all hands on deck. I was calling up friends like, "Hey, would you show up and be in the background?" And they're like, "What is going on? I don't even act. I don't even do film." And I'm like, "Just have a good
Mhm.
time. We're hanging out." Like it really does have that sort of favor community type of aspect sometimes. And then I've also seen some really cool things where directors have started there and now they are getting contracts with studios and things like that. And they're still indie, but they're on this, I guess, higher threshold and they're getting newcomer actors that are from well-known families or up and coming
Um,
actors that just haven't broken through yet, and so they might have more of a budget for things like crafty and stuff like that, um, but I've definitely been there where I'm like, please just get the sandwiches to set, like we're shooting over
right.
here, we'll be there soon. Like it I don't want to say it's the way that it's going to go, but we definitely have to get more creative as time goes on because things are changing so rapidly. And I think it'll only benefit you to be open to helping out where you're not usually um, working. Like maybe on one film you're directing and you went to school for directing, but then on the next film you have to be a PA. Like it might be like
Right.
that
It
sometimes.
might be like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm seeing that too. And you're saying about the extras, and I'm thinking, she's right, because short of the sort of the big network TV shows or what have you, where they can still pay for that. There's
Mm-hmm.
they're smaller. Because I've seen that too as well lately, where it's called for a cast of have a few extras, the background.
Mm-hmm.
There's not even enough people to do a proper background. You got
Mm-hmm.
like 4 or 5 friends, and that's it. And at the very minimum, you can expect at least a crowd of 20 or 30 people. Make it
Oh
legit.
yeah.
When you
Yeah.
have one cop out there doing crowd control, 2 extras, it just really it makes you laugh. It takes you out of the
Yeah.
movie. But maybe that's it. Maybe that's all they could get. Or
Yeah.
maybe because they don't have the money to pay. Because even background people, um, even they should get paid. Gas money at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, but you're right. I mean, I didn't even think about that about extras on indies that are being affected by that as well. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Now, you yourself. I mean, now, like you said, you have done a lot now. like I said, you sing, you act, you're a producer, you write.
Yeah.
I saw you even edited one of your projects.
Yeah,
Um,
I've podcasted. I've I've done it all.
it's for is it one of those things where it's like it's due because of the necessity of the project, or did you just go up to the director and say, hey, you know, I mean, especially the editing part, like, I like to see how it's done. Can I shadow you? Is that okay with
Hmm.
you? Can I shadow the editor? Can I try this out? Um,
Hmm.
because most actors, as soon as they get the script, they read it, they book it, and then afterwards, it's like they're that's it.
Hmm. Yep.
But with you, it sounds to me like you're like the first person on set and the last person to leave set.
Yeah, I just absolutely love everything to do with entertainment. And so I think throughout my whole life, even before I decided to do it as a career, I wanted to learn everything. And not only that, but I think I've had good leaders that would encourage me and others to have that open mind. Like, hey, I know you want to be center stage, but we really need somebody to do tech. Not a tech girl, but I've had my handful of tech jobs, um, which is, I found out that's not quite for me. But then also like stagehands, things that you just don't really think of when you're focusing your whole life on performing. But
Mhm.
um, there's a beauty in that. And I had a lot of fun doing that sort of stuff. And especially when it comes to my own projects, it it is rewarding to do that. And I have certain people that are always looking for help on their projects. So they'll be like, can you come in and watch this rough draft or something like that? And before I know it, I'm learning all these things about editing. And it is one of those like, hey, I'll teach you things as you're helping me. So that's where some of that came in as well.
Well, it's interesting that we're talking about this part of the
Hmm.
craft because in Walk Through the Door is acclaimed film director Michael James Bernard. He is
Ooh.
Yes, he's gotten 2 films underneath his belt, working on more. And he is based in Iowa, and
Oh, nice.
yes, Iowa is hot.
Yeah.
Iowa is a
I
hot. That's a lot of talent in Iowa.
Yeah, I actually lived for a year and a half in Minnesota, and my dad's from Illinois. He lives in Missouri, so I'm very familiar with Iowa.
Mm.
I've done some random work out in Nebraska, Iowa, Wisconsin.
Uh, Definitely need to send your resume in to Mr. Menard because, and this is the other thing I was going to mention too, is I think casting directors are, I mean, they're going to have to improve their craft as well. I've always gotten the impression that casting directors, and Lord help me out, they'll probably hear this and go and want my head. Sometimes I think casting directing is a little lazy. It's like, yeah, I know who I'm gonna pick. And it's like, wow, really? You just got here. You got your paperwork saying you're looking, they're looking for 10 people, along these lines, and one half of the bread is buttered. As far as I can use the same people I've used before other projects because I know they'll
Yeah,
show up as dependable. And to me,
yeah.
it's like that's great. That's very important, very important. Some would actually say it was the most important. But I also feel like as a casting director, what I think is of all the jobs I've ever talked to anybody as far as working on a movie, the casting director would be the spot for me. That would be
Ooh.
that would be the spot that I would want to be in because I love finding new faces. And I think that's what's really exciting for me about casting directors. But I also know too, I think that casting directors are no longer just going to be looking at the face. They're going to be looking at the backgrounds now. Like, okay, what can Michael James bring to the part? What can Cheryl bring to this part? What can Kaehla bring to this part other than just the art of acting itself? The fact you went in there and you tried to do something that was new to you and you try to do it is to be commended. And I can tell you, most directors, including the director I have here, I know for a fact that they would appreciate hearing that you at least got in there and at least got your hands dirty. You tried. You just didn't go like, yeah, I can't do that, or walk away. You sit there and say, how do I do this? Can you walk me through it? Most people are always, no matter what career they choose, most people will take the time to walk you through something you don't know, because it'll help you, and it will also help them. The less work they have to do themselves.
Yeah.
See, Michael says, pleasure to meet you, Kaehla. Thanks for the kind words, Patrick. You're welcome. You definitely have earned them, for sure. So when did you start your career? I mean, I noticed that you mentioned that you're Caucasian and Filipina, and I was wondering if you were you born here, or did you get your start in the Philippines?
So my mom moved over to the States when she was 14, 15, with her brothers. So I ended up being born on the West Coast, but I wasn't born in Hollywood or anything like that. They moved to beautiful Anchorage, Alaska.
Ooh, heat wave.
I have no idea why that is what was chosen, but that is where I lived, and then I grew up in Florida. So, yeah, two extremes. I have no idea how that happened. But I feel like my culture, like from the Philippines, there's a stereotype that you're either an entertainer or you're a nurse, and and I don't know what it is, but we all relate. Like right now, I'm doing a lot of choir stuff, and we just have this whole group, and we're laughing about how, like, basically, oh, well, we didn't become doctors, we didn't become nurses, so here we are singing. Like, it's always been around. It's like when I was 4 years old, I was up on stage at some like Filipino party. I vaguely remember this. And I was singing Britney Spears karaoke. And karaoke is like a huge deal. So I guess that's really where I got my start. But yeah, go ahead.
No, it's I think karaoke is actually a very good learning tool. You learn how to overcome performing in front of people, because a lot of people are, they love to sing, but you put them in front of an audience and they just like freeze up. So you learn how to work a crowd. You learn the interactions. So that's not I've always, I've had more respect for karaoke singers than I have karaoke bands. I don't like the band.
The louder, the better, right? Like the most confidence wins the room. The bands are always great, but
it does seem like it, doesn't it? But I don't like cover bands. I never have. I just no. I'm not into that. But karaoke, I do appreciate it.
Yeah, that's funny that you say no cover bands, because so basically I guess I didn't have that. Like, I get more nervous around my friends and family in a small gathering rather than like a crowd or people I don't know. I think I have less expectations. I don't know. But I did like plays when I was a kid, like drama club, whatever, choir, all those kinds of things. But it wasn't until I graduated from college, I was pursuing becoming a doctor. And then after my bachelor's, I was like, you know what? I feel like something's missing from my life. And I just had this like it sounds cliche, I guess, but like an epiphany of like, what am I going to do with my life? I think I need to do entertainment. Like that is really where I thrive as a person. And I had also played the piano for my whole life. That was like my main thing. I was the piano player. My friend would sing. I was the piano player. My friend would act, whatever. Like I always had these groups of people in my life. But I put aside piano and I decided to dedicate my life to improv comedy. And I totally went like gung ho comedy. I was performing in Orlando and we would do competitions around Florida. And then I started getting on film sets and I decided like, oh, I got to take myself seriously. And I just like moved to New York, ended up doing music there, a lot of cover band stuff. And then now I'm settled in LA. I just love it here so much.
How long have you been based in Los Angeles?
I was here, so I was kind of doing a back and forth thing, and I was here in about 2018, and I had been going to New York every summer during college and working, and I just decided I'm going to stick it out there, and then COVID happened, so I moved from LA to New York, and then when COVID happened, I did this wild move with my boyfriend. He got a job in Minnesota. And then we finally made it back to LA in 2022. So I've been here for 2 years now after living here.
Our good friend Steven has walked through the door. Now he himself, he does karaoke for,
Yes.
I actually think he does it. I'm not sure if he does it for a living, so I'm not sure about that. But I do know that he does it a lot. That's what he's known for. And he does karaoke country. So I guess I could ask him that if he doesn't mind asking. Steven, do clubs hire you to sing at their clubs? Do they hire you? Because you got to, because I know for karaoke, it's sort of like a DJ. You're half DJ, you're half performer. I mean, you're out there getting, you got to hype the crowd, and also you got to be able to sing.
Yeah.
You can't hype it. Like I can hype up a crowd, but if I started singing, I would probably just get jacked up. So I don't know. I don't know how that works. I know bands get paid. They get paid a certain amount of money per hour to play. But like I said, that's bands. I mean, that's great.
I'm sure it's similar.
I mean, to me, I'm thinking the first. I wonder if the first song a band sings on a cruise ship is "My Heart Will Go On."
Oh my gosh. Oh gosh. There's so many. Do you believe in life after love? That's mine.
I would actually come up with a playlist of all the songs that I know where everybody's buying the farm at the end of it, because you're on a boat, it's like, well, wait a minute, why are you singing about a ship that sank? Well, you are on a boat.
That's true. Oh my gosh.
Let's see.
Bad timing for them.
And Cheryl is here, and she said that's right. Cheryl actually toured. She used to sing for a living for years as well. 9 countries with her music. 9 countries.
Love that.
Yeah, a world traveler. But
I was gonna say world tour.
Yeah, I want to see the T-shirt. That would be. I guess. I mean, I guess there are some singers out there who have that lightheartedness. There's some that take it very seriously. Like, they're singing a song, they're taking it, they're going to do their very best by the song. There's some that, want to be the next Al Yankovic. Now you mentioned that you wanted to do comedy. Did you see yourself as a comic? Did people come up and tell you, you're so funny, especially if you're going to school,
well,
going to medical school.
My grandma would call me a ham growing up, I guess. I never thought I would do comedy, honestly. I think I was the least funny person in my family growing up, and that says something. I would go to family gatherings and my cousins and my uncles and everybody is just quoting movies left and right, and I never watched their movies. I was a kid, so I never related to that. But I did kind of get raised by like Saturday Night Live and those things. So somewhere along the way, I guess I got a little delusional and I was like, that's my journey. I'm gonna work with Saturday Night Live people. And honestly, I have, so it led somewhere. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, you get to work with some of the people at Saturday Night Live. Who have you worked with?
So I did a commercial with Maya Rudolph.
Okay.
So she's like the face, but then behind the scenes, this commercial was directed by Matt Piedmont, who wrote the sketches, while Maya Rudolph and Amy Poehler, Tina Fey, all of them were in front of the camera. He was writing for SNL, which was the most extra special experience. And then the first time I was in LA, I was so plugged in with the community, taking classes and stuff like that, that I got an opportunity to go to Whose Line Is It Anyway? And somehow I got on stage, like as just a random audience member. Ended up talking to Wayne Brady, who's not really SNL, but he's like a hometown hero of ours in Orlando. So that was really, really special.
Yeah, that Saturday Night Live, I just got done reading an article. I think it was Bill Hader, or maybe it was Jason.
I love Bill Hader.
They're talking about how, they didn't get very much money at all, and we're talking about recents. I think they're also talking to Pete Davidson too, and they're sitting there how they're saying how they don't really get a lot of money. It's like you'd be surprised how little they get. And I would be surprised at that. I would be very surprised to see how little they get, considering the show's been on over 50 years.
Yeah, I'm sure there's tiers of, veterans, like the people that have been there the longest versus people that are not interns, but new to the show. I could only imagine. I don't know, somewhere along the way, I in my mind was like, I'm going to LA, so I guess that throws Saturday Night Live out the window for me. And I did see how it is so cutthroat. It's like already such a niche community to begin with improv and stand-up and sketch, and everybody goes to the same theaters to train, and then it's like,
do you think people try? Do you think? Let me ask you a question. Do you think when you said it was so cutthroat? I mean, you can look at it two ways. The cutthroat, as in like there's like 5 openings for there's 75 people for 5 openings. That's cutthroat.
I think it's like that.
Okay, so it's not the 5 people and anybody will do anything to get it, and that means using their name or their last name or anything else like that. Like they'll use it to sabotage you. Let's say, maybe you're out there with an audition and the partner in there just decides to tank it, and make you look bad. Has that ever happened where you've been in a situation like that with comedians? Because I know I have heard that comedians it is very bloodthirsty.
Yeah, I think because I'm in improv, it's a very like team. It's like a sport. It's very team oriented, and it's like we're taught to lift each other up, or else what's the point? If you're just sabotaging each other, nobody wants to watch that. I mean, I guess that's what reality TV is like, kind of, but it's really more of like supporting each other. And I think it's the opposite for my experiences of like, if you know somebody or like you have somebody's name to throw in, it only benefits you if they can like lift you up with them, versus like somebody trying to push you away because they want the spot instead or something like that. I haven't really had that, but I'm sure it's out there. I think I've just I've been lucky. I've encountered some really good people along the way. I think I've found the right people.
Have you had a chance to do any stand-up? I mean, I was reading some guy with some girl was on Thread today, and she was talking about how It's just like it seems like every time myself, I'm a woman, or another woman will go up on stage, it always seems to be all that much more harder for us than it is for men.
Yeah.
Do you feel that? Do you feel that way? Do you feel like men get an unfair shake, so to speak, because they are men versus
Um,
women?
it's yeah. So stand up's a whole different world. I mean, they're kind of one and the same, I guess, with the whole, I guess, like men and women, because our humor is different. I think that's what I experienced. Was I tried very little stand up, but I was trying to put in the reps of like writing jokes and whatever, and people were very supportive. But at the same time, going through the open mics, it does get exhausting in a way when you're going, and it's a lot of like people that are also in the community, and they're like, that was so great, but this place really just, I don't think this place is for those kinds of jokes. Like those jokes would be better at this kind of place. Like that was kind of the comments I was getting, of like, I was still trying to figure out my humor anyway, but
Well,
it is interesting that yeah, I was encountering that. It was like, you're funny, but like not my kind of funny. It was like how they
right,
were reacting.
you come out there with a suburban mom set, and you walk inside of
Oh yeah, and everyone's
know,
taking shots of whiskey and talking about bikers or something like that. Like,
right. You're inside of a biker bar, comedy club, and you're
yeah,
talking about yeah, I get that. I get that.
yeah.
Um, man, stand up. To me, what's really rough though is like the comedy rooms. And have you worked in a comedy room? Have you actually been in there, or at least watched what like what it goes into a
Hmm.
comedy room? I mean,
Hmm.
have you
Yeah.
been in there?
Yeah. So one of the tech jobs I had was, because I was paying for my classes, I interned at the club. So I was doing improv, and I watched a lot of stand up, and I got to see some, I don't remember who came through, but I got to see some pretty big names, and it was a smaller room. It wasn't like the improv or like one of the famous clubs like that, but still very well known. And there's a lot that goes into stand up, because on the production side, you have the theater running it, right, and doing the box office and stuff. But then you have somebody producing it, as they would produce a TV show or something like that. So they're in charge of getting all the acts together. And then everybody is in a green room, kind of waiting their turn. And they might get 5 seconds or 5 minutes on stage. It could be that short. And then there's a headliner, and that's the whole show. So usually people are coming for the headliner, but
That's gotta be some
so
of the
quick.
most brutal. That's gotta be. Has that working a 5 minute set? Has that been more difficult than any acting role that you've done so far?
Oh yeah. A 5 minute set is, it's just, it's so weird. It is. It's like, if you think about like a song is 3 minutes or 4 minutes long, you have to somehow make a song 5 minutes, but then you're working all these like jokes. It is tough. Like I think comedians specifically work up to those like hour shows or whatever. That's the goal. But
Yeah.
most of the time, it's just that quick. So you have to have a lot of energy, but you also have to make it like streamlined, where you're not just like throwing things at a wall. Like you still have to have a
Right.
story. It's like a short film. Like so much has to happen, but so little has to happen at the same time.
I've seen that. I've seen that on a well-known special where three of the four guys came out there and they had really good sets, and they were able to carry it for 30 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and one could not do it,
Oh,
and turn around and could not get the half hour. It was just like, then he started talking about the guy in front of him with his jacket and his mom and stuff like that, and it felt like a giant step down compared to the other
mm-hmm.
four stars who had really good sets and were funny as hell. uh,
Yeah. I
yeah,
feel
I
for
was
that guy. It's
yeah,
hard. It's
it
so
was
hard.
yeah, I'll even name him because I was shocked. It was from from a stand-up comedy movie called Kings of Comedy.
Oh, I haven't seen
Kings of
it.
Comedy is one of the funniest comedy shows, comedy movies you'll ever see. But D.H. Hughley was on there, and for the first 10 minutes or so, he was fire. But then he ran out of gas. He ran out of
Oh,
gas,
yeah.
and you can see him looking for he was looking for things to talk about, and they start talking about the guy's jacket and this and that, and it's just like, wow, that's, the other guys, they could have kept going. And
Right.
but I guess it happens to everybody.
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough.
What's it like writing comedy?
Oh God. I was gonna say it's the worst. It's honestly, it is. Oh my gosh, it is work. It is just. It's like that's why I think I gravitated to improv. It's like there's no thought involved. You have a formula of like ways you interact with people, so to speak, and you have ways to storytell. But when it comes to writing, you have to have a product right there, and then it's like you don't know if it's going to work, and you might go to like a show and it works one day and then it just is terrible the next day, right? So like that guy who was bombing, we say, he could have just had a bad day and unfortunately is caught on camera, but like he
Right,
probably killed it like in the other 5 shows he did that week. So
right.
it's a with comedy writing or even like just like getting up and performing improv, whether it's sketch, stand up, TV shows, movies, it is just it is like a sport. Like I've always been taught, like put in your reps. Like you just have to keep
Yeah,
writing.
yeah.
And like I've like studied comedians. I'm like such a comedy nerd that I have like all these memoirs. I buy everybody's memoirs. I read about their journey and whatever. And it's just like they all kind of say the same thing. You're writing, and at first you're kind of like blind to everything and everything looks good. And then as you start figuring out how things actually work, then sometimes you feel like you get worse and you just go through like a dry period where nothing's funny. And you just have to like get up every single day, keep writing, keep performing. And then the next moment, like people like you again. Like it is the strangest thing, but
I'm surprised how
I love it.
I'm surprised. You hear about comedy and it's supposed to be funny and it's funny and everything else. But man, I've always been, we all laugh at this stuff too. But
Mm-hmm.
man, I'm surprised at how savage comedy is. Comedy is supposed to, when you think of comedy, you start thinking of things funny, like a guy getting hit in
Mm-hmm.
hit in the face with a pie, or somebody's pants being pulled down, or something like, or Debbie Downer, or something. When you
Right.
see,
I
when you think
love
of,
Debbie Downer. Oh my gosh.
when you think about a comedy like that, that's
Mm-hmm.
but then you got some of these, like the Comedy Central roast shows,
Oh
and
yeah.
man, I would not want to be in the same state as for some of those guys. Because they still find your ass and still roast you, you
Yeah.
know? And it's like, I just always wonder, like, wow, how much of that is just off the top, and how much of that is just because you're just a
They're
mean
just
person.
taking a jab. Yeah. The thing about it, they probably did write it out because if they didn't, it just wouldn't perform as well. But at the same time, it's comedy's hard when you have to bring out like your own point of view and you're talking about yourself and relating it to your life versus like a character, right? Like Robin Williams could be any sort of character on stage, and then like I think that takes the pressure off a little bit. That's why I like acting. um I would rather be somebody else than myself sometimes. Like I think that's more fun. But with the roast, it's kind of like you don't know how it's going to be received on the other end, but how it comes out they call it truth in comedy. It's a little bit how you feel as well. It is really like your point of view and your story. So even roasts, right? You're coming out as yourself.
Oh my God! Some of the roast. The very first one I ever saw a roast. Now I remember, way too young for this, but back when I was a kid, they used to have roast on NBC, and they would have it would always be the Dean Martin roast, and
Mm,
that was rated G. A bunch of old timer Hollywood guys.
mm-hmm.
No young, no, very little young blood in there, but a lot of and they would hit each other with basically rated G stuff. There's only a few comics from back then that could match up today. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
like Red Fox, like that guy could he could roast your ass from here till forever. But they didn't do that on TV back then like they do today during Comedy Central. Um,
Mm-hmm.
no, yeah, sister, yeah, Cheryl saying not today. Well, though, I wonder though about some of the comics though. I do wonder what would happen if they ever got really unleashed. And I
Oof.
remember watching Milton Berle and Richard Pryor. They were on a show together,
Mm-hmm.
and Richard Pryor was making some irreverent jokes, and Milton Berle was pretty pissed off about it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he like like I said, this body is this watch, just watch what you say, baby, watch what you say. He was trying to let him know that hey, he can't do certain things at certain times. And I think Richard here he heard all the laughs, so he was
Mm-hmm.
feeding. He didn't realize that Milton Berle wasn't trying to be funny. He was trying to do a teaching moment.
Yeah.
And because I'm thinking to myself, going like, man, if Milton Berle wanted just to cut loose, that would be pretty ugly because he was a pretty damn funny guy himself. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then today we see comedy. Do you think we use comedy now more as a weapon, or more of a social commentary? More social commentary, like you see Bill Mauer, he does his show. Are we using comedy more as a political weapon in your mind, or just a weapon in general? Um,
I I feel like it definitely is sort of. I mean, social commentary is my, I think, main form of comedy. Or sometimes, like, I'm watching things that aren't even outwardly like write the joke and then everybody laughs out loud, but like just situational. Um, and I don't, I can't speak for how it used to be, right? And so much has changed. So I don't know if it's always been like that, but it definitely, I mean, there are so many shows where that is the point. It's like, how are we going to take current events or politics or things that aren't really like relatable to everybody, and how are we going to get them involved, right? And that can turn some people off. It could also tune some people in that never would have paid attention. Uh, but it's definitely happening a lot. I mean, if you watch any TV show or movie, I'm not even talking about like Saturday Night Live and like Daily Show and like things like that. But like if you're watching a TV show or a movie, it could just be subtle, but they're writing those little things in.
There ain't nothing about those roasts. There's nothing subtle about that. I saw the one where Ann Coulter.
Oh,
I swear,
oh, it's a famous one.
the first thing that she did after she got off the stage was fire her manager. She fired somebody because I mean, I have never seen anybody get destroyed like that. I mean,
Yeah,
I didn't feel sorry for her. I was hoping they keep going, but at the
yeah,
same time, it's like, I mean, it's almost like it was like sort of like a professional boxer versus someone who's never boxed before, and it's like,
yeah, yeah.
after a while, there's just nothing there to watch because it's so one sided.
Hmm.
But you're glad that you came for the show. You glad you paid the 2 drink minimum to watch that. Um,
Yeah.
so as far as being on being in front of the camera goes, um,
Hmm.
so let's talk a little bit about that because you got some movies underneath your belt. Now, how is LA for you right now? How is LA for you as a as a creator or an actor? Um,
Mhm.
how you enjoyed it so far? Do you feel like it's do you feel well one thing I would sit there and say, do you feel like your comedy background has helped you as you move forward?
Yeah, so it's been a wild ride because I just joined the union as the strike was ending. So everything that happened before that time was a totally different ball game. And me coming from Florida, where that the market is just so different. LA is where you're going to get the most experience and like best learning opportunities to build your career if you're looking for it. Just is like the heart of the industry, and of course so is New York and Atlanta. They have stuff going on, but LA really is where everybody came from, and there's just so many things happening all the time. With that being said, it is crazy this year. Everybody's, I don't want to say complaining, but everybody is struggling right now with all of the production slowing down, and um, things are being filmed elsewhere, and AI has been a huge topic of conversation, and people are scared that it's going to take their jobs and things like that. Uh, but yeah, the comedy has helped a lot, especially with commercials. If you think of like a Progressive or AT&T or Jake from State Farm, I'm definitely one of those guys.
Okay, I
Um,
gotta say this, Melania,
mhm.
she can cook. She did a movie called Werewolves Within. It was the
Oh
first time
yeah.
I ever, the first time I've ever seen her acted, and acting because in fact, I was really, I didn't know that she did. I thought she was a stand-up comedian. I thought that's what she
Hmm.
did. I didn't know that she was an actor. And then she was in that Werewolves Within. Oh
Hmm.
yeah, she can go. She's not just a pretty face. Uh,
Hmm.
Let's see. Real quick, I'll mention over here. Cheryl mentioned that she was in the finals of a national Yuck Yuck comedy. Someone's been a comedy competition. She was in the finals of. She says she also listened to D. Martin Celebrity Rose. I'm aging myself so bad here. Have you ever heard of it? Do you know who D. Martin is?
D. Martin, the singer?
Yeah.
Isn't he a singer? Okay, yeah, okay, yeah. Same guy. Okay. I never watched it. I never watched it, but
I'm getting old. I'm getting old.
I was like, there's only one Dean Martin, right?
D. Martin and him and Jerry Lewis. Did you know they got
Oh,
together? They got together as a comedy team and broke up together as a comedy team exactly 10 years to the day.
oh,
Isn't that
that's a
something else?
long, that's a long run. That's
But to start your comedy bit together on January 1st, and then end it the next year later or 10 years later, exactly on January 1st.
hey,
That takes some, yeah.
yeah, that's
Uh,
a good whole number. We had a
yeah.
good run.
See, and Cheryl says about you. She's a very nice, talented actress and entertainer. Yeah, you definitely you definitely feel that right off the bat.
Thank
Um,
you.
so, yeah, but I've also heard too, though. I've also heard too, Kayla, about the people leaving the states.
Hmm.
They're leaving California. They're going to New York. They're going to not so much New York, but they're going to Georgia. They're going to North Carolina, Tennessee, New
Hmm.
Orleans. A lot of them going down to Texas. Um,
Yeah.
I think it's just it's Hollywood is no longer the place to be. Like
It
I'll go to Hollywood.
It's yeah, it's more of a I don't want to say a mindset, right? But it is not the physical Hollywood. I mean, okay, sure. I lived in Hollywood, and sure, you have the Walk of Fame, and they do like the red carpet premieres, the Oscars, blah blah blah, whatever, whatever. That's the only thing Hollywood that really has to do with film nowadays. Like everything is shot all over the place. I've worked in like I live by the beach now, and I got to drive like 10 minutes down the road to shoot something, and that is a great day when I don't have to go across town. So like even within the city, it doesn't really mean like Hollywood, but at the end of the day, the studios are here. The people, the decision makers, I should say, the casting offices. And if people move away, hey, that opens up more space for me because I absolutely love the weather here and I love the mountains and the ocean, and I have my own things going on, so I'm going to stick around.
Let's see. Welcome back, Bradazel. Welcome back. Welcome back. And they're saying that you should watch one of the Dean Martin roasts.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to see, I mean, part of it was pretty funny. I mean, to me, it takes more of an art to do comedy without profanity than it is with profanity. If you can make a crowd laugh without using profanity, I think that's when you show your true skills. Because I mean, because anybody can get up there, and this is true. You watch a movie, and this always will guarantee to get a laugh. Always, it's like in every movie with a comedy in it. But you put this line in. It's lazy, but it works. And that is, if you tell someone, shut the fuck up, I guarantee you the theater will lose it. It always does. It's a funny ass line. It's a funny ass line. It could be a serious movie. The hero and the villain could be battling out. Shut the, and then the crowd will laugh. It's I think it's more hard to come out with a different line that doesn't include the profanity.
I think that's what sets people apart. It's like you're encouraged to find the next thing, not what immediately you think of right away, because then probably the 10 people next to you might be thinking the same thing. So it's like, how can I actually like say this in a different way that's original, but like, yeah, sure, the first thing will relate to everybody, but then is it really that original? It's too easy.
Yeah, if it was that, they say, well, if it was that easy, everybody be doing it. There are some people do it. To me, it's like what's really hard is putting those words in the person's mouth. Is that you got to know who that person is. I can sit here and write a funny joke, but how is that joke really funny unless I know who I'm gonna? If I'm writing this for you, how do I know it's funny for you? Yeah, it could be funny to anybody else, but what if it's not your cup of tea? That's why a lot of actors, a lot of I'm sure there's movies that you've gotten through. People sent you scripts or whatever. I'm sure there's been a few where you've looked at them and said, this isn't really what I want to do. This doesn't really fit my personality too much. And you pass on it. It's okay to do.
It is. I encourage it. I think it takes a lot to be like, oh gosh, I'm not desperate. I'm just gonna pass it. Whatever. I don't get offered scripts. I have to audition, but at the same time, it is an art in itself. They say auditioning is its own job, or like even just like reading the scripts, figuring out what you want to work towards. And honestly, because I started right after college, I definitely have my fair share of profanity jokes and things like that are out in the universe. But at the same time, it's like even just finding a character that fits your personality is hard enough. Like, sure, I could submit to quiet, shy. Eleanor is a barista, blah, 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 whatever. That might be the character description. It's like, am I really going to paint myself in the best light? Because it's not me. So I'm probably going to butcher the audition because I'm not like the quiet person. I'm the like, I'm not the person that like is going to let people walk all over me or something like that. Whatever.
Right.
Just being able
Right.
to know yourself enough to find things that fit for you.
I mean, there's some people that can play like Rachel Dratch, who can do that, do the physical comedy of Debbie Downer. It's people look at her and think, oh yeah, she's just doing that, and she looks really, she looks like she's always getting picked on, and it's
Oh,
but
she's the
that's not who
best.
she is. That's
Yeah.
the who she really, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Do you feel comedy is going to do you think it'll be in good hands coming up the next 4 years? Or are we in for a rough ride as far as
I
what we're going to be able to say, about our leadership, and what we're not going to be allowed to say?
Right. I think we've already gone through this weird dark period. And especially like I just look at COVID as like a timestamp of my life because it just was like the Wild West for everybody. And things did get dark. Even music got really sad. But I'm a big like pop culture person, so I look at what everybody, I guess, between the ages of 18 and 30 are looking at. I don't know. Like I'm very basic. So everything started getting dark on the radio or on, the main streaming services. And I think now things are starting to turn around and the jokes are, I hope comedy has a comeback, like just a pure comedy movie, but I haven't seen that so much in a while. I can't like name a famous comedy movie that really stuck with me in the last 5 years. But movies, I'm gonna just name like big box office hits just because people have seen them. But movies like The Avengers or Star Wars or even Wicked that just came out. I've already seen that. That's where the humor is thriving in comedy. Like that's where the comedy is.
I know people are talking about the Wizard of Oz, and man, I you know what, it's like when I first watched that movie and I first read the book, it was a fantasy, it was a dark fantasy, but it was a fantasy. And you had you had good versus bad, and it was a very interesting movie to watch. People got scared by the monkeys and whatnot. Then they did the stage play. I mean, and then there, when they finally got in, when they finally said, well, we could actually do this on the big stage, in front of the big screen. The only thing I really felt regret. I felt regret that Idina and Kristen were not able to have that shot at it, back in their prime. I love those two. I love Christine or Ariana.
I love them.
Cynthia.
Yeah.
But man,
if you haven't seen it, I can't say anything because I will spoil everything. I will spoil everything.
I just gotta go. It's just like with Sarah Brightman with a Phantom of the Opera. You could get any singer you want in the whole wide world to come up there and do that play. There's never going to be anything to replace Sarah Brightman. It's just not. It's just, and when I think of Wicked, I always think of that too. I think it's like, okay, well, it's 3 hours long, the two parts. But the only thing I could think of was if they had only made this movie, if they only had the heart to make this movie when Idina and Kristen were in their top form.
Yeah, I'll just say they started a legacy, and the creators of the show and everything, and the movie does pay a proper homage to them.
Yeah,
they do a good job with it.
So see, most people now take things for granted, like comedy, no doubt, and Zardoz. Zardoz. Oh, okay. So Zardoz is a 1970s movie, I think 69 or 70. Do you know who Sean Connery is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Sean Connery starred in this movie, and he has this horrible looking outfit. I mean, it's horrible. I mean, it's more famous than the movie is. The movie's not very good, and he had to wear this horrible outfit. And that's what Tom's mentioning about Zardoz. You want to
Nice.
remake it, you want to remake that movie just to get rid of that suit. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. I was just wondering, as far as that goes. I mean, do you talk to your peers, on set or rooms or what have you, and do they feel like the next 4 years is going to be very dark in terms of expressing oneself, because it looks like we're going to be having a tyrant in the White House for the next 4 years. You
I
know,
I have no idea what's gonna happen tomorrow, honestly. But
and the
I
thing is,
feel
though,
like
there should never be that feeling. You should never have that feeling. You should never have that feeling like, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. That's something you see in third world countries. When you get out there and do comedy, like you get out there and you crack out your set, your stand up set, your improv set. Okay, we'll be back tomorrow. We're ready to rock and roll it tomorrow, but maybe not. It's like,
yeah,
I mean, how soon will it be before someone actually gets in trouble for saying, or gets told coming off the stage that, yeah, that was funny, but don't do it again. Not here, because
right.
it'll bring too much notoriety to my venue.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel like it is such a weird like cancel culture period in general. Um, but I've seen some pretty cool things that are not coming out for a long time. So I think we have a lot of exciting things to look forward to.
let's
Some
see,
secret things.
oh, the Wizard of Oz, Zardoz. I have not seen it yet. I have not seen. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me. I'll see a movie that I get all jazzed up for. I'll say I'm going to go see that movie, and then when the movie comes out, I missed the first weekend, and then it's over with. And it's like, okay, I'll just wait for it to come out on home video.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
It depends on the movie. If I waited a year to see it, I better see it in theaters. I mean,
Right. So what's going on? What's going on with you now? I mean, as far as what's your current project that you're working on? Is it a film
Mhm.
project or a comedy? Is it comedy or is it a film? And what kind of roles do you yourself like? I mean, we know that you're definitely a comedy person, but
Mhm.
if you got a chance to do a science fiction or a creature feature
Oh,
or a Wizard of Oz musical, would you feel comfortable in all those, right?
oh yeah. Okay, so right now I am. I don't want to say stepping away from acting, but I am not because of Wicked. I did just talk about Wicked, but it's not because of Wicked. It's because me and the people I work with, we decided that right now it's a good opportunity for me to combine singing and acting, and so I have gotten back into just good old fashioned choir, like I guess opera. I don't traditionally have an opera background. I just have a choir background, and we just finished Carmina Burana. If you look it up, it's like there's a song in it that is all over ESPN and random movies, commercials, whatever, whatever. Like you don't know what it is until you hear it, and you're like, oh yeah, first 2 seconds of the song, I know what that is, which was just the most special. And so I get to do another show with them in April, and we're starting rehearsals soon. We're rehearsing January through March, literally 3 months. So that's really special for me. And because I did uh, my stint in horror, I've always kind of had like the comedy, but then also the darkness there. Like
Hmm.
I have always loved Tim Burton films, or like even Harry Potter is very mystical, and then they throw in Bellatrix Lestrange, who's Helena Bonham Carter, and she can do anything.
What
I
about what
I
about, what
love
about
that.
Ari? What about Ari Aster?
I don't know who's Harry Astor.
Ari Aster. He directed
Oh yeah.
Hereditary and Midsommar.
Ooh, I haven't seen those. I gotta look
You
that
ever
up.
seen those movies? Well, God,
No.
thank God, I could save you some time and some money. Don't
Oh,
bother. Don't
don't.
bother.
Oh, hey, I'll watch them anyway. I'm watching Hallmark Christmas movies right now, so
Well,
I'll watch them
yeah.
all.
Uh,
Which I would totally do that, but I think I thrive where I'm more in I think that's why I like improv too. It's like okay, there you go. All right.
That's right. I have it right
Those
here.
are
I have
good.
this. I have Hallmark here. I have a stack of 4 movies here, and it's used
Nice.
it's used for my base.
Oh,
So I just lost my phone, but I use it for my
oh.
base. And I have a horror movie. I have a dramatic
Mhm.
movie. I have a Hallmark movie, and I have a documentary.
Nice. You gotta have
So
all of them.
I have all
Yeah.
that on my stack.
I would
Whitman,
I would totally work with like Tim Burton or somebody who it just knows how to take fantasy elements and then your character is just still really real and relatable. Like I guess even Wicked, there I cried the most in that movie than I'd ever cried in my life because the people were just so real, even if they're green, even if they're magical or whatever, whatever.
it sounds like they took a lot from the Wizard of Oz, the Great and Powerful Oz. Did you ever see that?
No, I want to now. I didn't know it
That's a
existed.
really good movie. That's a really good movie.
Hmm.
Yeah, I really like that a lot. Because it showed how the witch became evil. She became evil
Yeah.
because she was betrayed. It was
Hmm.
really well acted. Mila
Hmm.
Kunis and James Franco. I forgot who played Glinda though.
Really?
I
Oh my
forgot who.
gosh.
Yeah,
I
it,
gotta
it,
look.
it came out on Disney. It was really really good. The Great and Powerful Oz.
Yeah.
Let's see. Look at Zardoz. Oh, okay. So I forgot Zardoz is the name of the wizard. I just remember Zardoz being the guy in Sean Connery's science fiction bomb, where he's wearing that goofy ass red outfit. Um, See, he imitated the witch. He became God, the puppet master. Um, I have not read the series, Frank Baum's series. I have not read any of those books since I was a kid. When I was a teenager, I got like the first 3 or 4 books.
Hmm.
Um, let's see, Horror Cat Dad, my good friend, a fellow Snicker partner, says was directed by Sam Raimi as well. I agree. Sam Raimi would be a perfect person to direct a movie like Wicked. He has it in his blood. I think he would do an
Yeah.
outstanding job. I think he would actually do an outstanding job in a movie like Wizard of Oz or Repo, the genetic opera. I Oh, no problem, Cheryl. Thank you for coming out. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
I would love to see. I think Sam Raimi would be a crackerjack director in a setting like that. He's got it in his chops. He's always had it in his chops that he wants to do that. I think he should do that. Let's see. Let's see. They met. Okay. Uh, yeah, that's right. Sam did the great Oz, Great and Powerful, and that was a great movie too. That really was. That was. I thought it had everything that you wanted in a Wizard of Oz movie. Uh, but I have not seen it in a little while. But I do own it. I own that movie, and I did watch it. And who played the Good Witch? I don't. I want to say it was Michelle Pfeiffer, but I don't think that's right.
Ooh.
I don't think that was. I don't know who played the good who played Glinda. I want to say it was Michelle Pfeiffer, but then again, I'm going like I don't think so. I don't.
Here, you know what? I'm just going to look it up because I need to have it on my radar in general.
And then we'll talk more about some horror movies. I want to see what scares you.
Oh, oh, actually, okay. The great powerful Oscar wait. Okay, I have a movie for everybody. I am obsessed with it. I saw it before it was released and I thought about it for a year. And it's the new movie that just came out with Hugh Grant, and I'm going to say it wrong because I
Heretic.
don't know if, yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if it's Heretic or Heretic, but it
Heretic.
is something different. It's it's not even like horror as much as suspense, I
Yeah.
guess. But it is a thought-provoking movie and the detail in it is just it's like a piece of art. It is a piece of art. It, I loved it.
I think people were really let's see, he did see John Michelle Williams played Glinda. Okay.
Ah,
That was a good one. Yeah. She was in she also did another musical, the greatest showman on earth. She played a Hugh Jackman's wife and did a nice job.
oh, I love that movie.
Even though that was not Rebecca Ferguson singing her part.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love Rebecca
I did
Ferguson,
see.
but she herself says there's no way I'm singing.
It's
I can reach that
it's
girl's
movie
horn.
it's movie magic, and you know what? I I love every aspect of it because I see how it all works,
Hmm.
and so I might be singing and you never see my face, or you might see my face singing and I'm not the one singing. So you'll never
Yeah,
know.
I did not know that she had actually. I did not know that she had. Her name, like Laura Adana or Adana. I did not know that she had appeared on one of those singing contests and she had won. So all I know is I saw it and we're like, that's Rebecca Ferguson singing. That's amazing. Then I found out that it wasn't her. It was the girl who
Yeah,
won. I was like,
she
wow,
is amazing.
she's got a
Yeah,
beautiful voice.
but
Um,
still, what a captivating movie. I love it.
so Heretic, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you think? I like the idea. I think that's the reason why I was really amped up for it. I really was. Again, again.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, I get excited for movies. I do. I get so excited for them, and then they come out, and then like me, I was expecting it to be a supernatural horror film. That's what I was
Mhm.
expecting.
Right.
Hugh Grant going
It's very
completely different.
practical. I think the more real something is, the scarier it can be. Like I do jump. I jump at jump scares. I mean, I hold on. My cat. My cat is. He wants to join the show. Um,
That's cats are welcome here.
he'll walk on the keyboard and log me out or something.
What color is your cat? Tuxedo.
He's orange, actually. Oh, no, now he's
Now,
coming back.
if you look right above you, if you look straight above you, you'll notice that there's another orange sticking out over
Yeah,
you.
I see. I was like, oh my gosh, it looks like my cat, kind of.
That's right. That's my cat. That's Paladin. He's actually
Aw,
he's part orange and he's part cheetah.
wow.
So
Mine's part. I don't. He's part squirrel or something. I don't know. So, he's a little silly.
has he ever thought about driving a car?
Uh, he thinks about a lot of things. He's always plotting, but the execution's not always there.
Uh, uh, I asked her, Larry, because we're looking for a cat that can drive and a passenger.
Mm. Can
That's
you drive?
yeah.
He does. He actually doesn't like the car, but maybe it's because he always wants to drive. You know, I always
Okay.
put him like somewhere else. Maybe he just wants to be in the driver's seat.
Do you drive with him out of the cage?
Yeah, because I leave his little like backpack open because if not, he's just like, what the heck is going on? And eventually he wants to like look out the window and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I
he's not the
I
best
just
car
I
rider.
couldn't do that with Paladin though, because I mean, oh my gosh, it'd be one people would be scared because he already scares the kids on Halloween,
Mm,
because they come up to get candy and then they see this cheetah staring at them, so they get terrified. Then the parents come up there and say, "What is that in your window?" And I said, is that really you have a damn cheetah there?" I'm like, yeah, but he's inside the house. He's not going outside. Uh, that's right, Larry.
he'll
Hell yeah.
stay here.
Snickers protege. Snickers is the best thing on the internet right now, for sure. For me, that I love Snickers. That's and it's a tuxedo cat, and his
Oh.
owner has photoshopped him into all these different car videos. He's photoshopped him in there, and he puts on this kick ass music. Man, me and my buddy Larry here, man, we send each other the newest one because it's
Yeah.
just so funny. Um,
Oh my gosh.
So what horror movie? If you could work, other than with Tim Burton, what other
Hmm.
directors would you like to? What other directors out there doing horror would you like to work
Oh my
with?
gosh. Well, all right. I got a list, but So I am a huge fan of Universal. So if anybody works for NBC Universal, I'm your girl. I actually was in Halloween Horror Nights 2 years ago, like not this year, but the year before. And I was Catherine from The Exorcist believer. So the one that had come out that year, like 2 years ago. We actually saw it as a cast, which was really cool. And we had the scariest house, hands down. But that is just the beginning of. I would love to work with Blumhouse. I mean, that would be so special. Even this year, I had to turn it down because I started doing choir and things like got shuffled around. But I was going to be Megan, and I got to see my friends executing it so well. And so that is a role of mine. It doesn't matter what the film is. Five Nights at Freddy's, I don't care what it is. Like I honestly, it could be like a cheesy, almost like joke horror movie, and those are so fun. So fun.
Now, would you would have? I guess for Bloomhouse, because there's a lot of horror people here. I guess what it is with Bloomhouse is when they do rated R movies, they tend to do a lot better. I mean, PG-13 gets the crowds in, but
Right.
for the most part, though, the movies are not very good.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, there is an element of like gore and profanity in a lot of, or whatever, like adult material for horror films, and yeah, I don't really have any limitations there as far as like, oh my gosh, I would only do PG or whatever. Like I'm down for whatever. I also think that like what is it called now? Oh my gosh, American Horror Story, the TV show, or
Right.
like Scream Queens, like those get me every time. I'll watch every episode, and it's not necessarily like horror as in like I'm gonna walk out and I'm gonna be so scared, but it's just fun. Like Scream Queens, it's so silly. It's just so silly. It's like who is it? Emma Roberts and Billy Lord. I love them. Like, and then even Ariana Grande was in an episode. Abigail Breslin. Like all these people that are around my age, they're just like playing these dumb sorority girls, and then all of a sudden there's this like Scream type killer, and he's like killing them off each episode, and it's just like it's so like cliche, even Scary Movie, things like that. Like those are just so fun as well.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun for a lot of fans, and that's something I will give this over to Alfred Hitchcock, because he just started. He started killing off his big stars in the middle of his movies. Drew Barrymore was not Drew Barrymore getting killed at Scream was not a trend center. That Alfred Hitchcock did that in Psycho. He killed off his and it started a trend a little bit. You started to see that. You saw that a lot in the 70s, where the main hero would actually not make it to the end of the movie. They would end up buying the farm.
It's interesting that you bring that up, because it seems like nowadays a lot of there are a lot of horror movies, but then a lot of the like serial killer biopic type stories are coming out. Yeah. Which is like the modern day Psycho, right? But it's like real people, but then it's also fictionalized. So,
how do you feel about that how do you feel about that as a woman, as an actor? Do you think that that's one of the Hollywood's, in order to shock and awe, they will go ahead and they'll make movies of infamous killers. It seems like most of them are resolved around, they all circle around women,
Right. Well, yeah. It depends, I guess. Like I forgot who. I mean,
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Tarantino did that one.
Okay, that's one of my favorite movies. So,
Black Mass. I remember Black Mass.
Yeah, there's a way to do it where it's not just like okay, you're a dumb woman or whatever. Like if it's like kind of making a commentary on the subject, I think that's like really fun. Because somebody has to play those characters, right? I mean, it's part of history. It just happens to be women that are getting killed in most of the stories, but sometimes the woman is the killer. I don't know, or I
Not
don't
very
even know
often.
about.
Not very
Yeah,
often.
not very often, but it's like I actually do watch TV shows like that now, like murder mysteries. I'm so into those now. I think that's kind of the
Yeah,
way things are going again.
it's funny. It's funny because we all do YouTube channels and people are,
Hmm.
we're all talking. We all do horror. We all do horror, and we're always looking. Like how can we get more people to watch our content? Like
Like,
here we are. We're doing an original interview with an actress and a singer, and it's like I have 4 people watching.
yeah.
But if I turn around and I put a 15-minute photo of a camera of a cop, take his cop
Mm.
and take the camera
I'm
off
like, and
while
then
he's
they're
arrested,
gonna watch.
100,000 people watch that.
Yeah,
I
I
think that's
know.
I think that's broken. I think it's
Eh,
horribly broken.
I think we just like gravitate towards like, wait, this is
Mhm.
real. What is happening? Like, it's like I'll watch 10 before I know it. I'll watch 10 minutes of a dog running in circles. Like I'm like I wasn't watching anything, but
No, I'm
like
talking about I can just talk about true crime. It's like I said,
right,
it's
right,
like,
right.
how can I get views? And like true crime.
Yeah.
You go to the police station. You can ask for you can ask for a Freedom of Information Act. You can sit there and say, yeah, I'd
That's
like to
so
have that.
true. Even podcasts, like that's
Yeah,
such a true crime is yeah. It's a tricky thing. I've done tried to do so many of my own, like a blog or YouTube channel or whatever, and it's like, what am I even talking about? Sometimes it feels like that, but like just finding that thing that people can relate to, and I don't know why people can relate to true crime. I think it's that element of like this could happen in anybody's life,
it's funny. It's like
and they just
and the thing
click
is,
on it.
Hollywood does that. They do though.
Yeah.
They do the shows. They don't do them, like super dramatically with all the music and everything
Right.
else. But they do cover a lot of true crime. I mean, the first 48 hours. I mean, that was probably
Mhm.
to me, that was probably the one that kicked it off for me. The first
Mhm.
48, that's an amazing show. I mean,
Yeah.
it really is an amazing show. You see those guys go out there and you see them try to chase down a killer who, it could be 2 gangbangers, but they're gonna hunt for that killer like if it was their own, like it had been their
Mhm.
own family. It's an amazing show.
Yeah.
It seems to me it's like, and people are always talking about Hollywood, do something different, do something different, do something different. And you want to sit there and say, if they really listen to you guys and they started showing you some of these photos, some of these cameras for some of these cop stops, I don't really think you'd be beating the drum so much for brand new stuff. I think you'd be shocked if all of a sudden you started seeing this, like you
Mhm.
really seeing what's really out there in the real world. I don't think we're supposed to use movies as an escapism. I don't
Right.
want to, even though they're out there everywhere on YouTube, I really don't want to watch them because I'm trying to get
Yeah.
away from it. That's what movies does for me. You
Yeah.
know, I don't want to sit there and watch somebody get busted for, being for stalking his ex-wife. I don't
Right.
really want to see that. Maybe it's on a Lifetime movie. Maybe then I'll watch it because it's on a Lifetime movie. But I don't want to see it in real life. I want to have an escapism.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
Let's see.
There's something for everyone.
Let's see. Tom says they forgot Hitchcock in the '60s and '70s. The studios didn't get him. No, they didn't. Uh, and he played 6 layers of the mind in 6 scenes. Very deliberate. Um, let's see. There was a lot more going on in Cycle than can be seen in one screening. I agree with that too. A good horror film like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You go back and rewatch that again. You'll see
Mhm.
things you missed. One of the many reasons why I don't do Facebook anymore. Oh, okay. I did an experiment on Facebook, posted something personal, a couple of likes. Post a photo of my lunch that day, over 100 likes. Oh my gosh, yeah, yeah.
I don't understand the internet.
I
That's
don't
why I don't
understand.
take
I
it
don't understand
seriously.
either. I don't either. I know my cat gets more videos. If I put my cat out there every single day,
Oh,
I would probably,
oh
I would
yeah.
probably, yeah. Which I
My
probably
cat got
should.
my cat got 3,000 followers on Instagram, and then I was like, what else am I going to post? This cat sleeps 16 hours a day. Like I I'm not spending my time making skits about him. I'm out doing other things. So
Like I said, if he
it's
can
so
drive,
funny.
you don't have to do anything. If
Yeah.
there is, you can
Hey, you
check
know
out.
what? I have a green screen, so if he needs to drive, we gotcha.
Yeah, if you want to see Snickers, so just we definitely, me and Laurie will send you Snickers. He
Yeah.
it's my favorite thing on it's my favorite thing on Instagram right now. I love that. I love those guys more than anything. They crack me up, makes me laugh. The only thing that would be better if there was an orange cat in there, but there is a tuxedo, so that counts. Listen, we have hit our mark. 90 minutes is our mark, and we have hit that. And I definitely want to thank you for coming out and hanging out with us and talking all sorts of fun movies and
Yes.
how you see things. Um, what's going on? I mean, you're gonna be you're practicing now. You're rehearsing for the choir right now? Will you be doing that
Mm-hmm.
in the winter time? Then going back to movies in the springtime?
So I'm always auditioning. I'm always looking for things. I'm always working on set as background if I'm not on set as a speaking role. But I just wrapped um, I was doing like a recreation of a scene from The Office. So I'm looking forward to that because I did really feel like in the last few years I wasn't doing enough comedy. I got really dramatic for my content. So I'll have that, and then next year we'll see the timeline, but I can keep you updated. We're going to be doing some short films,
Mhm.
at least one, if not two, for just for like my group of people. But also, yeah, the choir is kind of like taking a lot of my efforts right now, and we perform in LA in April. So if anybody's out that way, come get the info from me. I don't have it yet,
If not,
but I'll
if
send
not,
it.
if not, bootleg as a copy. Oh,
Yeah,
did I?
yeah,
Okay,
actually,
are we
we
still
do
live?
record them.
Am I still live? Did I say that live? Oops.
I should be getting a copy of our last performance, which was so cool. I mean, it's just like I never really appreciated opera, honestly. Like I got into pop music and like rock, blues, jazz, like that sort of thing. And then it is hard. It is so hard to do classical singing. And we're singing in Latin, we're singing in German, and the soloists are it's like it is like watching The Greatest Showman, but like if she's just singing opera like Mozart, like that's what we're doing. We're going classic. It is
I didn't know. I didn't really
special.
didn't realize until I was watching the commentary of of Bausman. His commentary for Repo the Genetic Opera was that it was opera is done all singing. It's 100%. It's like where
It's
some
it's
other musicals that may have opera singer in it, like Phantom of the
mhm,
Opera. They're
mhm.
musicals because
Yes.
they stop. But
Yes.
operas
So
are 100% singing.
it's all singing, it's all music, like whether it's a symphony or just a pianist, or we're gonna have an organist for the next one, flute, whatever. Every conductor will choose a different way. But yeah, it is a whole story. And honestly, I have spent like the last 4 years cooking a little, not little, but I've been cooking a movie idea. And then when I did this show, and learning for like months on end the story behind the songs. It's not just we're singing these like famous songs, but it really is a story about like the fates and falling in love, getting drunk at the bar, and then like, oh no, things don't work out. I miss you. Oh, now we're dying. Like there's a whole story arc, and it's all singing, and there's humor, and there's crying. Like if you're feeling compelled to cry, like it is beautiful. It is something that I never appreciated. Yeah, way different than a musical, but I'm more of musical, modern, like that kind of thing. So it is
Right.
really special to go and do something different.
Tomorrow night, again, thank you for coming. I'm glad you're here. Tomorrow night we will be back. We'll be back here tomorrow night at 8 o'clock with Chase. Oh, hold on, let me get it because I got to get it right. Okay, so it's Chase Cortez de Vargas will be here tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Next week I'll do next week's schedule too because you guys want to hear it. You guys want to hear it. So we're doing 4 shows next week. We are doing on Tuesday. We have Ed Castaneda will be here. He runs Subliminal Ed's Films. He will be here at 8 o'clock. Wednesday we'll see film director Brad Case will be here with us on the 11th. On the 12th we have actress and cosplayer extraordinaire Stephanie Ward will be with us. Stephanie Ward might give our girl Vale a real run for her money. Vale is my all-time favorite cosplayer, and I've seen some of Stephanie's costumes. They are so close together. Amazing creativeness there. And so Stephanie will be here and not only talk about her cosplay, but she'll also talk about Graveyard Shark, because Lord knows we can't get enough of sharks. And that will be on Thursday, on the 12th, and then Friday we have 3 gentlemen, Bob, Corey, and Todd for Snozcast. Snozcast will be here. They're 4 young guys hanging out in the Metro Detroit area, and we'll be talking to Metro Detroit downtown, and also talk about the Lions. Oh, see, okay. See, look, I got it right. See, yes, because I always kill the last names. I always do. If it's a hard last name, I'm just dead meat. But I knew I could get Chase. I knew I could get her. So I'm like, yes. So that's who we'll be talking with tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. You definitely want to come out here and support that show. I hope to see you all there for that. You'll be seeing me promoting it tomorrow, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. All right, that is it for us. If you need to go to, if you need more podcasting, head on over to Hobbs Horror. He'll be on it tonight at 10 o'clock, 10:15 with the midnight hour. As for me and Kaehla, we are out of here till tomorrow. Stay safe and be safe, and talk to you soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right. Come on.